New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring. And hello again, dear ones. Dr. Robert with you here on a Friday evening. It's 5 o'clock on the Mountain Time Zone, and that means it is time for our Friday evening and the good news. Yes, opportunity to look at some of the good news stories that have made their way across my desk, and I think you'll find not only inspiring, but a great reminder of how we're creating a world that works better for everyone. And first up tonight, I love this story because, well, I think you will too. Here's what's going on. A team of researchers of Chinese, so they're Chinese scientists, and they published their findings through Australia's Edith Cowan University. And they propose that health is defined as a state of good order in 4 key systems of the body, including self-organization, self-defense, self-repair, and the anti-wear and tear system. Now, for me, I think of, I want to remember self-care in relation to all of these, and that's exactly what they're talking about. Travel is self-care, and it could be life-saving. While this fundamental process of the life course is irreversible, it can be mitigated through various measures, with tourism possibly being one of them. This is according to the study authors. Tourism could induce entropy changes. Positive tourist experience, such as exposure to new stimuli, engaging in social interactions, and participating in physical activities, may help counteract entropy increase and enhance wealth. Yes, we get out into the world, we experience new things, we breathe different air, we have different food, we do different activities, and all of that adds up to better health. Makes sense to me. I invite you to find some travel in your life, even if it's just to the next city or the next county or to the next park. Incorporate something for you this weekend, some self-care. Some travel care. And I want to thank you again for being with us and remind everybody that we get most of our stories over at the Good News Network.org. They do a great job of curating a wonderful selection of good news stories, and they encourage you to go over and give them some of the love and the attention that they so richly deserve. All right. So we're talking about travel here this evening. Excuse me. This isn't exactly travel, but if you ever had the chance, the way the story goes down is 30 years ago, botanists in Australia made the find of the century when they discovered a species of pine tree in the mountains near Sydney that had survived from the time of the dinosaurs. To mark the occasion, the Botanical Gardens of Sydney are auctioning off 6 saplings to horticulturists in order to spread enthusiasm, interest, and conifer genetics around Australia. There's little precedent to generate an estimate of how much the pine saplings will sell for, but there may have never been a higher profile plant auction in the world to say nothing of Australia. The 90 or so original trees surviving in the wild are located in an area so secretive that entry, even by scientists, is barred for almost all people, but except for some very important requirements. Unauthorized entry into the site is punishable by up to 2 years in prison and a fine of $330,000. This is according to the Australian Biodiversity Conservation Act. Ignorance of the law and the site's location are no excuse. Ignorance of the law is no excuse. Sounds pretty metaphysical to me, if you ask. Introduction of invasive plants, parasites, microbes, fungal spores, or plant viruses could wipe out this population, again, believed to be around from when the dinosaurs were on the planet. The Wollemi pine evolved 91 million years ago and went extinct according to fossil records 2 million years ago. But in the Blue Mountains west of Sydney, a stand of 90 specimens were found high in the more remote peaks in 1994. Wow. That's pretty good news, if you ask me. And they're going to share those saplings, and so we'll be able to see these pines grow in other areas as well. Good news, good news, good news. And hey, there is some really good news coming to Ventura County in California. Now, for a lot of people, they say, well, what's so special about Ventura County? In many ways, a staggering amount of the produce consumed here in North America is produced in Ventura County. And this type of industrial agriculture has led to pollution of the soil and groundwater with everything from pesticides, herbicides, and fungicides. And the poisoning has also driven away local wildlife. So the Rodale Institute and their California Organic Center has been working to reverse this course for some time, and we're just given a new $1 million grant from Patagonia Outfitters, and the state of California did them one better and put up $1.5 million. All told, they're now able to help farmers transition to alternative agricultural strategies that regenerate soil and biodiversity, with almost all the startup funding being covered on behalf of these two charities. It's been 2 years and a week since Yvon Chouinard, the founder of Patagonia, announced that every dime of profit his company makes from that point forward will go to preserving nature and fighting climate change by designating Earth as the company's sole shareholder. Little publicity has been generated by the nonprofit arm of Patagonia, known as Hold Fast Collective, since that time. But according to reports, it's been quietly going about its business, distributing over $70 million to some of the largest conservation organizations on the planet, like the Nature Conservancy, the Conservancy Fund, and Rewild. Hold Fast Collective's executive director, Greg Curtis, said of the Ventura's Rodale Institute that they're peerless, and their success over the last 5 years in helping farmers transition over to more regenerative farming practices makes it a very clear choice for what amounts to Patagonia's first investment into the industry since Chouinard's decision, again, 2.5 years ago. Thank you, Patagonia. Congratulations for being part of the solution, in my opinion. I love to see corporate partnerships, and I love to see companies that are doing good in the world with all the money companies have. I know there's so much more that can be done, and this is a great model. Again, we want to thank and send our best wishes to Patagonia for all their help in this as well. All right, one more good news story about nature and the wild, and this one comes to us all the way from the Ninth Ward in the lower Ninth Ward in New Orleans. The lower Ninth Ward has recently witnessed an eco-renaissance following decades of damage and neglect. This is all being led by a local community development program. They have a 40-acre wetlands park that's been restored to a state it hasn't seen for hundreds of years. And that includes hundreds of local trees that attract over 100 species of birds, plus joggers, picnickers, and nature lovers alike. This is all by the Rashida Ferdinand, founder of Sankofa Community Development Corporation. Now, growing up in this part of New Orleans, Rashida what recognized and was witness to all the things that went into creating, well, the lower Ninth Ward. Poor drainage, ruined roads, the illegal trash dumping, unmitigated damage from hurricane, slowly wasted the wetlands away until it was an eyesore. In the name of restoring this wild heritage, Rashida founded the Sankofa CDC and in 2014 entered into an agreement with the city of New Orleans for the restoration of this 40-acre section of the lower Ninth Ward. An official opening is going to happen later in 2025, but finishing touches are in the works. Rashida said, seeing butterflies, birds, and other pollinators in the park is a sign of a healthy ecosystem. All we had to do was create the right conditions. And much of that was taking away the wrong conditions. There had been thousands of invasive tallow trees had needed to be uprooted. 2,700 cubic meters of the illegally dumped trash compacted into the dirt had to be removed, and a 60-year-old canal dug by the Army Corps of Engineers had to be disconnected, and all new native flora had to be planted by hand. Now, visiting birders have recorded sightings of over 100 different species of songbirds, ducks, nearshore waders of all kinds. This is a sign of the resurgence and the regrowth. What a great story happening in the lower Ninth Ward in New Orleans. All right, folks, we're going to take a quick break, say hello to a couple of our sponsors, but we've got plenty of good news stories coming up for you, including our hero of the week. Stay tuned. Stay with us. We'll be right back after these messages.
The New Thought Men's community proudly presents New Thought Men's Summit, Foundations, an online conference, September 22nd through 27th. Register today at www.newthoughtmens.community. Join your host, Rev. Eamon Duffy, and a collection of new thought leaders as we explore the principles and practices of sacred masculinity. New Thought Men's Summit 2024. Join our daily sessions, crafted to help you embrace and expand your experience of spiritual masculinity. Come experience a safe and sacred community of men, committed to doing the work of conscious evolution. Come be inspired. Featuring 22 new thought speakers, ministers, and visionaries, sharing their wisdom of modern spiritual masculinity. Register today at www.newthoughtmens.community. New Thought Men's Community. Empowering wholeness, centered in spiritual living.
And we're back with more of the good news here on a Friday night on the New Thought Media Network. Thanks for joining us, folks. If you're watching live, feel free to drop a comment. If you're watching at a later time, feel free to drop a comment. We'd love to hear from you. All right, back into the good news stories. You know, sometimes less is more. And for so many of us, we've been taught that we need to do our to-do lists. Well, researchers are realizing that a to-don't list might be a good idea. Rachel Botsman, a trust fellow from Oxford University, is credited in the profession for coming up with the to-don't lists. Now, they said that sitting down and writing out our goals, our tasks, and objectives can lead to valuable neurological orientation. And this phenomenon is often associated with the to-do list. However, the same principle works in reverse. Taking time to write out the overburdening and absolutely non-essential activities that we're clog up our day can help us see how non-essential or postponable some of them may be. Now, organizational psychologist and podcast host Amanda Limber, who spoke to McGrory on the topic, said that even though time is infinite, we're always adding more things to our to-do list in the hopes that it will get us ahead. If I eat lunch while working rather than take a break to do so, I can finish it 30 minutes earlier. But we don't. We stay later. So the idea came to write things on our to-do list, like don't work while I'm at lunch, not to schedule meetings between 8 a.m. and 11 a.m. Don't do the laundry every day. Who does laundry every day? Maybe don't respond to emails on Mondays. I like that one. That was a good one for me. I encourage you folks to find some things to put on your to-don't list and make sure then you don't do those things. What a good idea. Hey, here's another incredible story. Another story. And those that watch this program, you know that we love following stories around conservation and the healing of the planet and a shift away from the detrimental side effects of climate change to a more healthy climate. Well, it turns out that nearly 90 million metric tons of planet warming carbon have been found surrounding surf breaks around the world, making coastal locations essential climate allies and an ideal location for conservation efforts. Now, the news came from a groundbreaking study by conservationists that were examining forests, mangroves, and marshes around popular surf breaks. Submerged features like rocks or reefs create not only the surfing areas, but help as the carbon capture. All the better surfers themselves are concerned. Surfers would love to protect these areas and have been trying for many years. For the study, researchers analyzed more than 4,800 popular surf spots across 113 countries and found that immediately surrounding areas store over 88 million tons of irrecoverable carbon. Now, it's roughly the equivalent to the annual emissions from 77 million gas-powered cars. Now, if the surrounding areas expanded to 3 kilometers, or 1.8 miles, the amount of carbon stored in the ecosystem is more than doubles to 191.7 million tons. Irrecoverable carbon refers to the carbon-rich lands humanity must protect to prevent the worst impacts of climate change, according to the most up-to-date models. Our studies show where we now focus on legally protecting these areas, and surfers across the world are fantastic allies for efforts like this. They love the ocean. They know that it is threatened and are extremely motivated to protect it. They've been on board, so to speak, helping to lead the establishment of all the surf-protected areas we've partnered to create. That's according to Scott Atkinson, one of the lead researchers. Surfers doing what they do, and researchers realizing there's a new ally and a new partnership that can be put together. I love it. What a great idea. Hey, here's another good one. And this one's more cute than anything. You guys know all those kiss cams that happen at stadiums? Well, this one isn't quite a kiss cam, but it happened at a public event and it happened at a concert. And a couple, both planning to propose to each other, surprised each other when one got down on their bended knee and the other realized what was happening. Rachel Huddenmark had been planning for months to propose to her partner, Rashad Polk, pictured here, and at an upcoming concert performed by one of the couple's favorite band. They shared their first kiss at a Modest Mouse concert in 2021. And on June 14th, they headed down to the show with their friends, family, and Rachel's 16-year-old daughter, Jasmine. Rachel had a ring tucked in her pocket and ready to ask the big question. Love this. Ready to ask the big question and had no idea that Rashad had the same plan. Now, both of the adults had confided in Jasmine that they were going to propose, so the teen was on the hook to keep the secret for both mom and soon-to-be stepdad. She did a good job of keeping the surprise. The Baltimore, Maryland mom dropped to one knee, and Rashad burst into laughter before doing the same thing. Jasmine was ready to capture the heartwarming moments on camera. Those are the pictures you see there. We were shocked at what happened that neither of us thought to actually say yes, according to Rachel. The couple who originally met through work said everything went perfectly on the day, and they've already set their wedding date for September 2025. The moment was flawless. We had Jasmine as the photographer. It was so surreal. It felt like an out-of-body experience. Rashad did say it was good that she proposed first because I was waiting for a certain song, and they didn't even end up playing that one. The song she proposed to, Dashboard, will definitely be played at their wedding. Good news, folks. I love a good, heartwarming story. Reminds us that we're all in this together, that there is one mind, and in that one mind, we are coming forward to create a world that works for everybody. This one, obviously, is working for Rashad, Rachel, Jasmine, and all their friends. All right, we're going to take a quick moment, speaking of friends, to say thank you to our organizational sponsors and individual donors, the people that help us make this all possible. Please don't go away. Stay with us. Help us say thank you. And we'll be right back with more of the good news, including this week's Hero of the Week. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Please help us say thank you to our organizational sponsors, including the Hefferland Foundation, Affiliated New Thought Network, International New Thought Alliance, Science of Mind Archives and Library Foundation, Center for Spiritual Living Denver, Center for Spiritual Living Midtown, New Thought Philadelphia, Planned Happiness Institute, Summit Center for Spiritual Living, One Heart Retreats, Center for Spiritual Living on the Lake, Unity Kitchener, Unity Spiritual Center Ottawa, Om Center for Spiritual Living, Satya Center, Begin Within Ministries, Center for Spiritual Living North Jersey, Unity of Savannah, and the Center for Spiritual Living Seattle, as well as all of our individual donors. Thank you for being part of the New Thought Media Network. Please like, share, and subscribe. New Thought Media Network, positively inspiring. Yes. Thank you to all of our organizational sponsors and individual donors for making New Thought Media Network possible. It's thanks to your donations that we're able to broadcast these programs and all of our programming out to a worldwide audience. We invite you to like, share, and subscribe. Let your friends and family know what we're doing. Tune in and share the good news or any of our other programming throughout the week. All right, let's get back into it. Next up, we have a pioneering Welsh runner who's helped organize hundreds of community running events around the country and recently celebrated his 85th birthday by racing his great-grandson. I intended on walking, said 85-year-old Eric Hughes, but when I got there with my great-grandson, I decided to run. He beat me by 7 minutes. Hughes' competitive spirit, which has seen him medal in 18 consecutive British Masters championships at various distances, is certainly one of these park runners. He's been doing this pretty much his entire life, but he also is one of the most prolific organizers and volunteers at Britain's Park Runs, a community running event that's started originally as a club that ran a 5K in London 3 times a week. It all started back in 2004. Now it's exploded in popularity since, and as part of the 20th anniversary of Park Run, there's now over 1,200 park runs around the world, according to the BBC, and they include countries as diverse as Estonia, Malaysia, Japan, Australia, and of course the United States. Hundreds of thousands of park runners are processed, websites updated, and millions of emails sent each week, according to the Park Run official website. The park run community is growing all the time, but it is still based on the simple, basic principle formed from the start. Weekly, free for everyone, forever. Lots of running. Hughes helped organize the senior park run in Bridge Wales on Saturdays and Sundays, and version on Sundays for juniors as well. I think everyone will have such good athletes in the country because of the park runs. He celebrated his 85th birthday with a run, and his great-grandson joined in. Originally launched in Livonia, Michigan in 2012, the USA has 75 different park runs you can find on their organization's website. A British concept that came to around the world and landed in the US as well, and now people are running everywhere they go. Good news, good news, good news. Good ways to stay in shape. All right. Those that know me know I'm not really a runner, but I'll celebrate the runners in the world. And I want to do a huge shout out to a group of high school sophomores. They recently, check this out, raised $20,000 to surprise their favorite school janitor with a brand new car. Now, this all was a fundraiser that was before Francis Aparuku's birthday. The boys described the man as super friendly, kind and friendly. They asked him what he wanted as a present, and the Ghanaian immigrant replied that he'd love a new Jeep Wrangler. Well, the boys from James Madison High School in Vienna, Virginia, started a GoFundMe, raised up some money, and with the help of the community, surprised their janitor with $21,000 bright cherry red, you guessed it, Jeep Wrangler, brand new. There's a video that shows the man surprised in disbelief. He moved to America away from his family and friends a few years ago, and the students wrote on their GoFundMe, "Ever since we met Francis, he's been super kind and friendly, and sometimes even says prayers for us. This day, the 9th of September, I will never forget," says Francis, as he hugged the students that surrounded him. Good work, young men. Good work, young ones. Do the good work of getting of sharing and hey, sometimes we just got to do what we got to do to help somebody else out. All right, next up, our hero of... Allow me to introduce you to UPS driver Raheem Cooper, who was passing through his normal route in the Georgia town of Valdosta when he saw an elderly woman collapsed on her driveway. Calling emergency services, Cooper stayed with the woman, identified later as Marie Cobble, all the while calling her grandmother. The woman was checked into the hospital where emergency brain surgery had to be performed on a subdural hematoma. She made it through the harrowing procedure and began the road to recovery in the hospital. Kayla Cochran, Cobble's granddaughter, heard of what Cooper had done for her and managed to track him down. I found his number and called him and told him thank you, that he was truly an angel to our family to have found her, because if he wouldn't have, she would have died that day. 5 days after the surgery, she hadn't talked at all. And when Raheem Cooper came to visit, she brightened up and actually pushed herself up and gave him a hug. That's the first time since this whole thing happened that she's lifted herself. Following up, Cooper started a GoFundMe to raise money for the family, seeing as how members had to drive in from out of town to stay with Colby while she recovered. Started that with his own $100 bill. Earlier this week, Raheem Cooper received a letter from the UPS chief executive officer for his acts of heroin. His local branch co-workers got him tickets to the Florida State University football game, and a supervisor presented him with a plaque in his honor. Dear sir, we would like to congratulate you as well. Raheem Cooper, you are our hero of the week. Thank you for being on the planet. Thank you for what you're doing to make this a better world for everyone. And thank you to everyone watching. I'm Dr. Robert, and I'm going to get out of here for now, but we've got more coming on the New Thought Media Network. Just a half an hour. Stay tuned for Reverend Michael Mangus and the Fireside Chat. Our evening prayers tonight at 8:15, and I'll be back tomorrow morning at 9 with our Saturday morning conversation series. Stay with us on all that. Hit the like, share, and subscribe button. Let your friends and family know what we're doing. Until next time, I want to wish you peace and richest blessings. Bye now.